talk about something I found on a deep dive. Now there is here, as you can see, an inquiry by a US judge to the European Justice Department asking help in solving the Epstein case, because there are apparently a lot of European elites and of the political and financial world, scientific world involved in all these sick scams. But apparently the Epstein case is not the only one like this, and if you want we can discuss a few others if you like. Like for example the Franklin scandal, the Clinton Chronicles, the Dutroux case, Nihul, X1 witness, the Teichmeister case in Austria, Dissappear in Portugal, the UN sex scandals in the 90s with Yugoslavia, trafficking girls to Western Europe to be abused. Now there are a lot to choose from, but let's go for the one I personally lived through and which completely shocked me and opened my eyes. The Palma House case, 2022 in Austria. Now I never was to Austria. I didn't have ties with Austria, but somehow I ended up innocently in prison in Austria. And it's a very interesting case because the case really reminds a lot of the Epstein case, although Epstein had nothing to do with it, and the government agencies who are covering up 5 years the Epstein files and probably have spiked them with a lot of lies and misinformation, because these people just do this. The Palma House case is a very interesting case to go over, because here you can see how these people screwed up in covering up a sex scandal in Austria. And they screwed up seriously. And you will recognize a lot of tactics which apparently these pupils misused and didn't practice according to the rules, and especially not to the magic of the tradecraft. And they really ridiculed themselves and the entire European justice system. Now, if you see here in the inquiry, the US Justice Department clearly asked help of the European Justice Department to help solve crimes like this. Now let's see how they handled the Palma House case, because today in 2025, even although we asked 3 years information and investigation about what happened and how this was possible, these atrocities, we still don't get answers. And the only thing that happens is that I get indicted trying to make me silence. I get indicted not because I am telling lies. No, I'm getting indicted because I'm telling the truth. I am explaining what happened to me in 2022 in Austria and ask an explanation of the Austrian Justice Department how this is possible if they aren't really crooked till the bone. But see for yourself and watch this video. So first of all, let me introduce myself. I am Christoph Lioris. I am the author of the books The Palma House Scandal 2022, The Palma House Conspiracy, and The Austrian Criminal System. I am a father of 3 children, wonderful children. I am divorced by now because of the Palma House case, of course. I admit I also made mistakes because I had an affair, and this was what led to the Palma House case. So I don't say that I'm completely innocent, but this was also my only crime. I cheated on my wife when I was locked abroad during the COVID lockdowns. But on the other hand, the people who were attacking me, my family, my children, threatening us with the most horrible crimes, and even threatening to have me abducted with crooked judges from Austria. And this is all recorded, handed into a police investigation from 23 Augustus, where the Austrian judges from Graz were notified that this all was happening, this circus. But for some reason, the judges in Graz didn't want to investigate ex-Yugoslavian gang trafficking Eastern European girls, and apparently minors too, for sex parties in Austrian brothels like Palma House, and Palma House wasn't the only brothel, it was an entire network with local businesses in support, with people and criminals who were bragging in Eastern Europe that they get money from Austria from people to just find girls and narcotics for these sex parties. So these are not my claims, what I'm here telling, these are the criminals which Austria refuses to investigate, who have made these claims and all stated this.
Hast du bei ihr erklärt, dass du hast gelügen über das Schlagen und so?
Ich habe ihr das gesagt. Sie hat das mir nicht geglaubt.
Und das ist das Problem, die glaube ich, dass ich dich verwaltet habe.
Ja, aber sie glaubt mir, sie betrog mich, verstehst du mich nicht? Sie betrogt mich. Das ist hier ist nicht so wichtig. Hast du gehört bei dem Gericht, wenn du sagst Lebenspartner mit mir und dass deine Mama wollte nichts glauben. Deine Mama sagt, nein, das ist nicht so. Die Österreich ist so.
Gar nicht mehr. Was ist schlecht meine Gesicht?
Schatzi.
Ich hab gleich Leben, was habe ich aber meine Papa gehabt? Bitte machst du ihm bloß, schreibst du ihm nichts, weil er schlaft noch weiter. Oh Mann, ja, ich mache ihm Probleme.
Schatzi.
Hier ist
Ich will, jetzt hörst du, ich rede mit dir wie meine Mama. Wir haben viel Streit gehabt mit Christoph wegen und er hat das Recht gehabt. Verstehst du? Leider, er hat Recht gehabt und jetzt weißt du, was möchte er mit mir? Echt, ich werde ja nur mich umbringen für alles. Nur ich möchte, dass Christoph rauskommt, er ist wieder mit seiner Familie zusammen. Und wenn er zeigt mir, ich kann mir einzeigen, aber ich werde von
ja, aber ich will nicht, dass dieser jetzt tut. Du weißt, wenn du hier warst, was ich da alles für dich getan habe. Mit meiner Familie, ich bin überall gewesen. Wir sind, du warst wie meine Tochter.
Ich weiß, Mama.
Ich habe jetzt eben in August die Schule bezahlt, dass du Pediküre, dass du auch das Bordell könnte, dass du auch das Hurenhaus könnte. Ich habe die Beweise. Und du gehst und sagst das von meinem Sohn. Das ist unglaublich.
Mama, mir schmeckt auch. Ich weiß, die Entschuldigung werde nicht mehr helfen. Überhaupt, er ist böse, du bist böse, okay?
Nein,
ich versprochen dir das, hörst du mich so? Ich versprochen, dass er kommt raus, okay?
Okay, Marci.
Egal wie,
Marci.
wenn ich bekomme diese Strafe, hörst du mich zu?
Ja.
Besser, ich habe die Strafe wie Christoph, dann ist egal.
Marci, willst du ein Ding wissen? Ich bin nicht böse, ich bin sehr traurig. Verschrecklich traurig.
Ich habe nichts gewusst. Hey, wir können echt reden, lange Zeit. Ich bin auch kaputt. Aber wir haben Streit gehabt wegen dieser Scheiße Österreich. Ich habe hier kein Leben mehr. Habe ich das heute dieser Frau gesagt, wenn Christoph kommt raus. Also ich möchte mit ihm verschwinden überall und mit ihm ein schönes Leben machen. Ich habe das gesagt, jetzt ich weiß leider, ich liebe diesen Mann.
Hier ist, wenn du in der Probleme sagst, er ist direkt nach Österreich gefahren, um die zu kommen holen. Ich habe da mehr Geld genommen und geleint für dich zu kommen holen, derselbe Tag. Du weißt das, du warst die Probleme, er liebte dich wie Dinge, wie voll.
Ja. Nein, das ist, schau, wenn er rauskommt. Ich hoffe, sagst du, dass ich liebe ihn, habe ich alles probiert, aber ich verschwinde von eurem Leben. Ich gehe irgendwo, ich weiß nicht, vielleicht jetzt, ich bin eine Woche, jetzt ich bin schon in der Straße, mir scheißegal. Mein Leben hier in Österreich ist mir wie kaputt und habe gesagt, ich möchte Christoph rauskommt und ich mache das, ich laufe das. Ich gehe jetzt, ich werde mir einen Nightclub, ich habe bei mir ein bisschen Geld und kann ich einen Anwalt für mich nehmen, die Christoph, ich kann rausholen.
Du weißt, Marci, er liebte dich. Ist darum, er war immer böse, weil du da arbeitet. Das war die Rede. Was? Du sagst gerne leben in Österreich. Aber welche Leben? Du hast selbst gesagt, deine Familie, allemaal macht dir kaputt, der profitiert von dir.
Ja, und hat gestern alles mit mir zurückgehabt. Er wollte mir nur aufpassen, aber ich hab immer ich hab Blödsinn gemacht, verstehst du?
Das weiß ich. Wir haben letztlich hier in Belgien auch gemacht. 4 Leute.
Ja, wir haben gestritten in Belgien und alles weiter. Aber ich will nicht mehr. Wenn ich kann, ich versproche für meine Kinder, wo sie ist tot. Wenn Christoph rauskommt und er gibt mir die letzte Chance, ich möchte ihm eine Hochzeit machen. Nichts wegen Geld und nichts wegen Papieren, gar nicht. Weil er hat mir gesagt, ich will, dass du bist meine Frau warst.
Das weiß ich. Das habe ich mir auch gesagt. Da habe ich Dennis gesagt. Weißt du das? Wie wir verrückt waren von dir, dass du...
Ja.
Wir waren verrückt, du warst so liebe, du warst so gut mit den Kindern, du warst so... du konntest lachen mit meiner Kochen, dass ich...
And which evidence is there with the Palma House investigation? Now, for example, you can see completely how they set up a fake trial with fake allegations. They hired a woman to make false allegations and to try to accuse me of horrible crimes. But these crimes weren't possible because there is something as a secret tracking system in Europe, which we all know but nobody talks about. It's called the Schengen Information System. Now this system knows plus minus your whereabouts throughout all Europe all of the time. Every interaction with law enforcement, penetentiaries, when you go somewhere to a doctor, medical information, it's all included there to track the people where you go. Tracks license plates, for example, and although you all gonna say that's not true, trust me, it's true. But in my case, this system proves completely my innocence, because the time that I supposedly did all these crimes where I was accused of, I didn't even was in the place where the crimes were happening, and neither was the victim. And this is all undisputed proof. Like, for example, if a woman claims to be abducted in Hungary, locked in a house without a phone for 9 months, yes, and you have video footage of this woman 9 months posting on social media that she's actually in a brothel in Austria, having parties and doing really sick things, then there is something not plausible to this story, especially when she specifically declared she didn't have a phone to contact somebody for help. You can clearly see that she had made hundreds of videos and posted them every day on social media. But that's not all. She also was stalking me. So every day she called me from in Palma House, and I got this a lot of more information than the people could follow on social media. Because in these conversations, she was crying and explaining how she was being abused by these sex traffickers. She was there accusing them of all kinds of crime and showing a lot of evidence of what was happening in Palma House, begging for help. She also clearly claimed that the Austrian authorities had totally no interest in helping her or the other girls. Now, this all sounded really crazy at that time, and I didn't really believe it all. I thought she had problems, okay, but not like what she was describing. She was describing satanic sex parties. She was describing a large-scale extortion network where the people were lured to first these places, but they had also restaurants and other places where they made follow-up meetings to extort and blackmail people. It was an entire organized network. Now the police, they had the names of a lot of the perpetrators. They had incriminating evidence against all of these people. They had also this woman who was begging for to become a state witness in Hungary to testify against these people, but she wanted also immunity because they had turned her from a victim also into a perpetrator. And this was all in the evidence. They were threatening her with her family, they were threatening her with everything that they could. especially because they didn't want her testifying. I am nobody. What happened to me, it's not important. But she is linked direct to all of these crimes. And for this, they did everything possible to have her not testify. But on the other hand, this woman has hundreds of hours, recordings, phone calls, everything where she admits it. And all of these tapes were handed in evidence with the Austrian Ministry of Justice. And there were serious claims of high-going corruption made in these allegations. But of course, these are only claims made by a prostitute. And who the hell listens to a prostitute? But on the other hand, these 3 judges that had me abducted, they apparently took everything what this woman said in the statements that she made next to her Albanian pimp. But the statements when she go alone to the police station trying to explain that she was forced to make false allegations and even recorded it, if I post these recordings online, I get sued.